You're obviously a movie fan if you're watching this video, so you've probably heard the bad news about Hollywood. Nothing is sacred, and originality is dead. We movie fans live in a world where Ghostbusters was reinvented, and if somebody announced that they were remaking The Godfather tomorrow, we probably wouldn't be surprised. We're also not surprised when these remakes almost never live up to the original, and for the remake to surpass the original, the odds are insurmountable. And I say this not to worry you, because as I mentioned before, it probably doesn't even surprise you, but to let you know that this version of A Star is Born defies those odds. Let's make the odds of success even more insurmountable, shall we? A Star is Born is not just a remake, it's a remake of a remake of a remake. It's the fourth time this cinematic story has been told, and as much as he's a Hollywood A-lister, Bradley Cooper hasn't really directed a film before. This is his directorial debut. And on top of that, he thought he should also act, co-write, and take singing lessons as well. I, for one, am really glad that he took all of this on, because you can actually tell this was a passion project, that Cooper wanted to tell this story. In every nuance of the film, you could tell that he was giving it his all. And yes, that includes taking a few singing lessons. Now that seems like a small thing, but it actually lends itself to something that all films need, and remakes generally lack: authenticity. Now I use that word because in the past on Real School I've asked this question before. Why is it important to you, the filmmaker, to retell a story, to remake a movie? Now, granted, I may never know why exactly it was important for Bradley Cooper to retell this story, but I never questioned the importance when watching this film. A lot of that actually goes back to him taking singing lessons, and I don't just mean the commitment it takes to take singing lessons. It's the fact that that importance, that authenticity, comes through in every facet of his performance, but especially in his singing. It should also be said that while Cooper is not the most refined singer, he didn't really need to be. Because you know what, neither are guys like Tom Waits, Bob Dylan, or Leonard Cohen. They may not have the greatest voices in the world, but the fact is there's so much truth, there's so much soul to their songs that it's just encapsulating. And so is Cooper. In fact, I would argue there's always a vulnerability to somebody singing, that there's always an authenticity because they're bearing their soul to you. But as I mentioned before, it's not just his singing, because Cooper brings that vulnerability, that shared experience, that openness in almost everything he does on screen. But really, we've got to talk about the music. If you're like me or millions of others who have seen the trailer to this film, chances are you've already got the song stuck in your head, and guess what? When you see the movie, they'll get stuck all over again. And that's a good thing. Kudos to the promotional team of A Star is Born, because it's one of the most memorable and powerful trailers I've ever seen. Then again, the footage comes from a memorable and powerful film. And music has been key in all previous versions of this film. And you know what? Cooper really knew that, because he knew exactly how to use music. He and the musical production team are the conductors, and the orchestra is the film itself. The movie hooks you right off the bat, and of course it does that using music. Bradley Cooper's Jackson has this hypnotic swagger as he opens the movie, blasting his version of rock and country to a raucous crowd of thousands of concert goers. But the music can also be muted, creating that sense of vulnerability and intimacy that I earlier spoke of. And it's that intimate musical connection that actually drives the story. Predominantly, it's the love story between Bradley Cooper's Jackson and Lady Gaga's Ally, because it seems that the only time that they're really themselves in terms of the characters is when they sing to one another. You see, the songs are their love story, and we're just there to listen. When I said that the music might get stuck inside your head just like the trailer, that might actually be doing it a disservice. It doesn't just get stuck inside your head, it gets stuck inside your soul, your heart. It becomes a part of you. It really connects you to the film. It's beautiful. It's powerful. It's for the win. I can't wait for this film to get a wider release, because I can't wait to get my ears on that full soundtrack. Like you saw in the trailer, Gaga and Cooper have tremendous chemistry, but they also have tremendous balance. While Cooper may not be the greatest singer, and Gaga was the one who coached him up a bit when it came to his music, Gaga is not necessarily the strongest actor out there, but Cooper gives her so much in their scenes together that she really raises her game. And guess what? gives a performance that's on par with Bradley Cooper. Director Cooper also really helps out the performance because he deftly uses the framing of the camera and sound to make it seem like they're the only two in the world. It doesn't matter where they are, on stage with thousands of screaming fans, in a loud dressing room full of hilarious drag queens, in an abandoned parking lot in the middle of the night, or a brawl in a dive bar. The fact is, you're only focused on them. The point is, you're always invested, even to your own detriment. I actually found myself almost verbally yelling at the screen when some of the characters made a bad decision. I very rarely do that because I'm somewhat disconnected from the film, but that tells you how much I'm invested. It was akin to yelling at the screen in a horror movie, telling a character not to go in there because the killer is inside. There was only one time where I was actually taken out of the film. In musicals, the characters always jump into impromptu songs and dance numbers, and they instantly know the choreography and the musical arrangements. And you know what? In this movie, there was something very close to that. Now, they tried to address it, but in my mind, unsuccessfully. But as I mentioned, that's the only time that my suspension of disbelief caused an issue. Because it's more of a drama with music, not a musical itself. I also saw a very different performance that I'm used to seeing from Sam Elliott, who plays Jackson's older brother. Much, much older brother. Now, you would think that's another moment where I couldn't necessarily suspend my disbelief, but they really felt like brothers, with all the fighting, familiarity, and frustration that comes with a fraternity. My biggest complaint was you get a tremendous dramatic performance from Chappelle. Noodles and Jackson seem like friends. You get a tremendous connection with Gaga and Andrew Dice Clay. They actually seem like daughter and father. You get this great brotherly relationship with Cooper and Elliot, and yet they're all gone way too quickly in this film. If the film had slightly better balance when it came to subplots and characters, I felt it could have been just that much more powerful. But I also feel that this is probably the most powerful version of this story so far. Granted, the previous versions of this film actually all had success. The original won Oscars. The two previous won Golden Globes for both their leads. And you know what? I don't see that changing. Gaga may not win. Cooper certainly won't win everything, but this movie will win something. As a first film, Cooper should be more than proud by his rookie effort. He created a very beautiful, touching, and intimate film. He got everyone on the same page and created a story that reflects on regret, love, addiction, and shows us that music can really connect us. It is most certainly an earn it. Poll question: who is your favorite singer turned actor? As always, leave your answers in the comments section below. Also, be sure to check out my full written review on menvsmovies.com, where we give you all kinds of coverage of TIFF 2018. The link is in the description below. But until next time, school's out. Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.